So I did something different this week. I posted on Facebook and shared it, and asked for there's people to share it and then add some questions on there. Big shout out to Jeremy Nichols and your mother, Miss Anglley. But to start off, Jeremy Nichols had a question. He says, "What's the culture like in the practice room, and how does it bring the team together?"
It's more of I feel like kind of aggressive. Like we all want to push each other to be better,
right?
Because yeah, we did just win a state championship, but I feel like we still gotta there's still teams out there that. Last year, we did lose to Marlowe. We want to beat teams like that are good, and we always want to push each other to be better. So we all have really competitive spirits, I feel like, and we all just want to push each other, make each other better.
Yeah, it's an aggressive practice room. I would definitely say that.
Coach Baker, due to the circumstances of the extended football season, you didn't get in here until later. What's something you noticed off the bat?
Some amount of kids. I was like, that first day I walked in there, I was like, where did all these kids come from? The room is full. And then you just sit and watch and watch practice. And as you watch it, it's not a bunch of kids just trying to find some place to go and jacking around. I mean, all our kids from our high skill level to low skill level, beginners they're in here banging and working. And so, it's a competitive room and guys go get after it. There's some good problems to have. Trying to find match space is a good problem to have, I think, in my opinion. So, that was probably the biggest thing was just the amount of kids that we have in here, just trying to be a part of wrestling, trying to feel their way through it. So,
here's a question from your mom. She asked, what's one of your most memorable matches?
I got a few. I feel but probably my favorite one, probably Dual State. That finals game, because that kid beat me earlier in the season, and he was ranked a lot higher than me, and it was kind of more of an upset, I feel like. And just going out there and I kind of manhandled him, I'm not gonna lie. I worked him pretty good.
He beat you at the Big Four tournament, correct?
Which wasn't that. It wasn't that long. It was maybe a month before that. And then I did go on and beat him at state again, but that was a little bit more. I was kind of behind in that situation, and then I pinned him. But that's probably one of my more favorite ones that I've won.
Is there one that points out to y'all? One of Jack's matches?
I mean, if you throw a dart at a board of all of Jack's matches, you're going to hit one that had something interesting happen in it. Yeah, that Dual State one was huge, but the one at Cushing, he was getting drummed. I mean,
14 about to get teched.
And he hit some Jack Anglley stuff and pins a really good kid.
He got placed at state at 3A.
He what?
He got placed at 3A state.
Yeah, he was tough. I knew he was a good kid. He'd won junior high state the previous year before, and he was beating Jack like a stepchild, and then Jack came around and put it on him afterwards and pinned him.
I wanted him.
Right where you wanted him?
That one's good. The one where I don't even remember where it was at, but Jack is cradled and on bottom, and he has a cradle, and the guy on top there cradled each other, and then somehow he freaking sticks his foot in the mat and flips the guy over and pins him in a cradle. He's on his back.
That was, I think I was state against that one kid because we both had a double cradle. And
that's planned.
That was planned, yeah. That's a Jack. I was down for it. I had him right where I wanted him, Coach. No, you didn't. But yeah, he's frustrated sometimes because you're just I was sitting in the corner this weekend with Coach Jackson, and I was like, God, I hate coaching Jack, and I don't really mean I hate coaching him, but it's I don't know what to say to him because I know he's going to do some weird stuff that shouldn't work, and it ends up working for him somehow.
He's one of those kids you just kind of sit back in the corner, and I don't know if enjoy is the word, but no, I enjoy Jack a lot. I've coached Jack since he was a youngster, and when I say enjoy, I've loved watching his progression from a extremely goofy, unathletic kid to a little bigger, goofy, unathletic kid that, I don't know, works really hard and has put in the time and effort, and coming off your first, tournament of the season. You won the tournament this weekend. I won in the finals 7-4 or something. It wasn't probably the best performance you thought, but a win's a win. Talk about how it felt to come out in your first performance of the year.
I felt pretty good, I feel but I'm still not in as good a shape as I feel I should be as I was last year. I felt like I was in a lot better shape last year, but that's just because I've been hurt. I feel I didn't wrestle very good in that last match. I feel I wasn't as focused as I was in those other matches personally. And I was kind of thinking about it last night. I should have done a lot better on my feet in the neutral position. And if you want, I just kind of gassed in that third period. I was brain. I was out of
You said
gas.
focus. You said your focus was off. That's something me and you talk about a lot. It's
Yeah.
like your focus. Talk about that and how when your focus is not on in wrestling and how it affects you and just kind of how it affects your everyday life.
So, like, I don't know. I just feel like I wasn't, like, during that, like, warm-up, you know, I was just kind of, like, joking around, you know, and just because I didn't have a lot of really good competition. That's just my fault personally because I don't know, I just wasn't locked in as well. And I feel like when I'm locked in more, I feel like I'm more focused. I feel more clearer when I'm wrestling. I can think more clearly about what I'm going to do. And sometimes I just got that problem of just not being able to focus, and I think that's just my brain a little bit.
But like you're a kid that I've watched, and a lot of people deal with this. They deal with that type of attention issue, and I've watched you grow up and develop, like, and learn how to manage that into your wrestling season to make you successful. Because when you're not, like when your sleep schedule's not on, when everything's not right in your life, and you're not on a set schedule, everything else is off. Correct?
Yeah, I'd agree with that personally because, like, you know, just what was it? It was my sophomore year. I had a job during the summer, and, like, you know, I was working like 40, 50 hours a week, and, like, I wasn't able to sleep very well, and I feel like it affected me in the weight room during the summertime because I wasn't able to lift as much because I was working a lot. And so junior year and senior year, I didn't work nearly as many hours. I was trying to sit there and say, all right, I need to fall asleep at this time so I can get up in the morning and lift and go to work in summer pride. And I feel like when I did that, it helped me a lot more. You know, I'm not saying I'm big and strong right now, but I was a lot.
But you had a breakout junior season after
Yeah.
that. Like you had a breakout junior season in football. You had a good junior season in wrestling, state qualifier, match away from placing.
Yeah.
Like you put in the time and the effort to make your structure right, and you got the benefits from it.
Yes.
And still, you know, that's a struggle every day, but now just at a smaller level, right?
Yeah, I try to sleep at a decent time. Like, I do work, but it's not nearly as much as I do. You know, I work like maybe 3 days out of the week, you know, just trying to get some money. But, like, as soon as I get home, I take my sleeping pills and I go to bed.
So I noticed just watching you grow in this outside of athletic endeavors. Like that first year I was here, it was a struggle of finding, like, where's Jack at? Why is Jack not at school? Jack is late. Jack's going to have detention. I mean, we had some issues with that. You know, and then to watch it transition and watch you grow and mature and like prioritizing things like you just talked about that are important. It's just like we haven't had any of those issues. Like you've been where you're supposed to be, taking care of the business, what you're supposed to take care of. You just go back to you focusing in on what's important to you and what you need to do as a young man and growing up and prioritizing that thing. All that stuff bleeds over into, you know, what you do in the wrestling room and on the wrestling mat and on a football field or whatever. That's where I started noticing it was outside of all of that, and just kind of watched you grow, like kind of into a responsible, you know, young person.
Speaking of like focus, like the NIL deals, right? So like, I think, you know, obviously, you know, to pay a kid, you know, to do what they love, I think would be beneficial if they was getting some kind of deal like that. You know what I mean? Because then they don't have to work. Because I mean, every kid wants to have a summer job because they want stuff. You know what I mean?
And every kid that drives needs some gas money, you know, if their parents are, you know, not providing for them and that way. And parents shouldn't have to. If a kid has a car, you know, like make them earn things that they need. And Jack, you've always been a kid that works and does things and provides.
You know, not everybody has, you know, I'm just saying, like, family situations, you know. I have some family situations. We don't have all the money sometimes, you know. So, like, you just got to be able to provide for yourself sometimes, you know. If I want something, I can't say, hey, Mom, you need some money right now. It's like, you got to focus on what you need. So, like, I like to have a job, and, you know, I would benefit. Some people would benefit from that and their ideas.
I think that's something that people don't understand at times that are outside the realm of kids being involved in activities. And I'll go from sports. I'm talking about kids involved in any kind of extracurricular activities that takes time away, it takes practice. There's a certain level of dedication that kids got to give to this sport or whatever activity they're involved in, and it eats up a lot of time. And people outside of that realm that don't have kids involved in that stuff think that all these kids are just playing a game. It's what they enjoy doing. It's like a hobby, and that's not that's not what it is. And sometimes they don't have the same opportunities to go earn that money and have those jobs and do those other things that the other kids do that aren't involved in activities. And I think it's good too, because it teaches them something, a level of discipline and mental toughness to be able to work through those things. But this thing takes a lot of time. Being involved in football, it takes a lot of time. And it's not just Friday night when the lights go on. Being involved in wrestling, it's not just when we go to a duel on Tuesday or we go to a tournament on Friday, Saturday. It's not just something these kids go out there and play at. It's not something to just, we're going to roll a ball out here and we're going to play a game. That's not how this works. These guys put a lot of hours and a lot of work and sacrifice a lot of things that other kids that aren't involved in these don't. And so I think it's kind of important to understand and kind of applaud that about our young men, especially our young guys that are involved in activities, that have jobs, they got to help provide for themselves. Some have to help provide for their families, and I think it's going to teach them. I think they're gaining a lot of skills and learning a lot about being an adult, and it's going to serve them better in the future.
Yeah, I was a kid who we didn't necessarily have to do it to help our family, but it was the same type of thing. If I wanted anything, I needed to pay for it, and my parents made me work one time a week, even during wrestling season. Go out and lifeguard or do something, referee, make some money somehow, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for our community that allows kids to go out and work these jobs during seasons. Because just like Coach Baker said, it's not just a Friday night thing. It's not just you go to wrestling practice every day and then you can go to work afterwards. Sometimes you have to go to events, you have to set up things, you have to be a part of things in the morning, the afternoon, and our community does a good job of working with kids and letting them work these hours. I know Chris Hayes does a great job of always employing kids at Pizza Corral that work around their schedule. And Jack, you work at the dollar store here in town, and I'm sure they work really well around your schedule. And just any other businesses that just do a good job of trying to understand, like Coach Baker said, it's not a game. These kids are living and breathing this lifestyle, and you see it with me and you and Coach B, and it translated into our adult lives. We lived it and breathed it so much. We've lived that life, and a lot of these kids want to continue living that life. And just other businesses that want to take interest and want to support and provide for these kids, I think that is the goodness that comes from this NIL deal thing. I'm not looking for kids to blow up and be millionaires, but if you can provide a meal or if you can do anything to support our kids or support their families throughout a season and showcase your business in the meantime, get some advertisement, we're here for it, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Growing up, my dad, he didn't know what wrestling was until I would tell him in the summertime. You know what I mean? Your dad's a state champion from Elgin.
Yeah.
But to wrestle for Elgin now, knowing your dad I think he was the second state champion for Elgin.
He likes to push me about that. He it's not like you got to do this. He pushes me. He wants me to wrestle. He wants me to be good. And I feel like it just helps me. He's a state champion. I can't be, I can't just sit there and slack off or anything, He pushes me and it's good.
How did he introduce you to wrestling? How did you get introduced to wrestling?
I was young. It was back in that old field house when there was one mat in there.
Yeah.
With Coach Oz. I just remember just sitting there just wrestling a little bit. That's a long time. I'm trying to think.
Hey, Easy Eyes back over there in those days too. It was simmer down now.
But I was introduced at a young age. But
I saw a video. We're fresh off. We were in a beginner tournament yesterday, and that's something that's special to me. It puts a lot of stress in my life, I feel like, and I tell my wife every year I don't want to do it anymore. But going and watching my kid wrestle for those 5 minutes or getting out there to enjoy it. And I saw a video your mom shared recently of you in that same beginner tournament, same gym, shorts and T-shirt, no sock, or in your socks, just out there scrapping as probably a little 5-year-old, and I think it's important, and I know your parents and our youth league did a good job of providing those avenues for kids. The first thing I said when I started that tournament yesterday is this is not the Olympics.
Yeah. If
you want your kid to be good at wrestling, make them love wrestling, and your parents, I think, did a good job of that. Yes. You love wrestling.
Yeah. Some people, how some parents are, they get a little aggressive at tournaments. My parents were never like that, I feel like. They were always there just sitting there, did good. Or they were if I lost, you know how it is, they pushed me, but in the good way. They weren't sitting there, when I lose, they'd yell at me.
You felt like they were excited there to watch you,
Yes,
not critique you.
Yeah, they were sitting there. They were there. They made sure that I liked the sport. I would. It was good. It was a good atmosphere. I feel like from whenever I was younger, they wanted me to be good, but they weren't sitting there one of those crazy parents yelling at their kid and screaming at them after a match.
That's what I appreciate, like just being around the last couple of years is your dad. You notice him because he's a good sized guy and stuff. Like that. He's just kind of over there in the shadows, and he watches you. You don't really hear him, and I always see him talking to you guys after the match and put his arm around you and talk to you guys after your match come off. But like he's just kind of there in the background enjoying, watching his kid wrestle. I think that's pretty cool. Like.
It is, and at the same time, I've been at like freestyle tournaments with him and stuff, and he'll step in the corner.
Oh yeah,
and like that's cool because I'm super comfortable with people doing that because he sits there and just enjoys you wrestling and just gets to be a part of it, and he'll say something here and there, and that's fine. Like I appreciate just people that want to be involved in that type of situation. I know he's just there supporting and loving on you. I wouldn't let some dad that's not capable of doing that in the corner.
Yeah.
Your dad was a state champion Greco in a different state, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was in Indiana.
Indiana?
Yeah. He's loved wrestling his whole life. Like he was like assistant coaches for like high school teams. I think he was an assistant coach at Labette Community College because he wrestled there for a little bit. But yeah, no, he's been around.
That's cool. That's something I didn't know.
Yeah,
so I think we was going to Ardmore when we was talking to Wes.
Yeah.
And Coach White's dad, and he was telling us about what a tough dude your dad was, right? He was kind of explaining the dynamics a little bit because your uncles, they play basketball or something like that?
I think my Uncle Keith, he played baseball, I think.
Is that what it was?
I don't think football was around when he was in. It's like football came, I think it was in 80.
Yeah, it was like 84
Yeah, my dad was,
or something around here.
I think it was,
maybe younger than that.
yeah, I think it was 80 because my dad said he had it halfway between his it was the first year, it was like his junior year or something, like whenever football opened up for us and they had to practice in some pig farm.
Your dad was state champion in 81 or 80?
I think he graduated 82.
82.
So I think it was 80 that football started. So like I don't think my other uncles had a chance to even do that. But yeah, no, they were basketball and baseball mainly.
Now, you could have went a different path and played basketball probably at some point, maybe, just on your height alone. Because let's talk about it. You're, what,
6'3".
6'3". You wrestle at 165 pounds, soaking wet. And, like, you're an anomaly kind of size-wise when it comes to wrestling. You're a big, tall, lanky dude. But your coordination of basketball probably didn't.
No. I mean, you got to think about it. Football, too. I was a D lineman at the same size, going up against 6'7", 300-pound kids. I mean, like.
But that's what made you successful. Was the anomaly of your size and your athleticism and just everything. But I said athleticism. Yeah, that's crazy. But Coach Bate can't even look at me when I said that.
This kind of leads me into another question I want to ask. Actually, your mom asked, like, what would you call your style of wrestling?
Oh, dude, I don't even know.
the Jack Anglley style.
Yeah.
It just kind of.
Never duplicated. I know that.
I mean, like, people ask me, like, how do you do this? And I'm like, dude, I don't even really know how. It just kind of comes to me, you know? Like, wrestling, I'll be like.
Now, let's clarify. You're not out there doing Olympic level wrestling moves that are flashing out of this world or anything. You're doing good, solid wrestling you've learned growing up, but you do it as a 6'3", 165-pound kid. That is really hard when it comes to leverage and angles and being able to do all that.
I feel like leverage, kind of. Like, I feel like kind of helps me. Like, some kid tried to throw me yesterday, and I stood straight up and just picked him up and just.
Can't get your feet off the mat, right? Like, since you're 6'3", it's hard to do.
I'm not really, a shooter, I'd say, but, I was just sitting off the rest, and I was like, I got this trapped on. I hit a fire missile on the side of the mat, and I was like, oh, that was pretty cool, I don't know. It just kind of came to me.
Great description just comes to you.
Yeah. Like, I don't really be hitting that move in, like, the wrestling room, but, just.
Yeah, that's it. That's how you would describe it, I guess.
Coach Baker, you have an opportunity to watch him wrestle and coaching in football. Is there anything you think, like his style of wrestling, how it translates into football, or his style of football, how it translates into wrestling?
So he plays football the same way he wrestles. It just comes to him, It's just I don't know, the way he bends and the way he stretches. I mean, like, it's like them old Gumby toys that you use, or Stretch Armstrongs, right? You stretch it, you just try to.
And what's
break
crazy is you're not the most flexible person in the world to me. I feel like they did put you in these positions and you adapt because your body's so freaking weird.
Yeah, like, I really, honestly, he plays football the way he wrestles. And I mean, his technique is stuff they use, and he was one of those kids football-wise. I came in and they said, he's that outside linebacker. They're, well, he can't get on the field there. I said, well, let's move him down the defensive line. I had no idea what we had with him, but we were going to give it a shot. And I always think outside the box on things like that. And it just worked out. And he just plays with a different style. Like, you don't coach him the same. Then it's the same in wrestling. I don't coach him the same in football the way I coach Shay and Jace, who are also down on the defensive line with him. He's kind of, I have to coach him a little differently. I allow him a little to do some different things than I allow those other guys.
That's the exact same thing in wrestling. You have to allow him to do some things that you completely coach against, and you completely are against your philosophies, but you find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And I feel like you especially, and like you adapt to kids really well with that. Instead of just writing them off, you find a way to use what you got. And I'm thankful to have good coaches around me that see that as well.
Yeah, so that's just the thing. Like, I mean, that's the big thing. He wrestles kind of like he plays football, and every now and then he'll hit a spin move on air, and it's like the most unathletic thing you've ever seen. But I mean, it happens. But
you'll see a D line or an offensive lineman throw him literally from one lineman to the other, and he gets ragdolled across the field. But the next play, he sacks a dude in the backfield.
So. I'm convinced. I think for the last 2 years, he's probably got more offensive linemen's butts chewed by their coaches than anybody, probably in the state. And so it's the same. Like I said, he wrestles the same way he plays football. He just finds a way to get it done, and I feel like that's like we should have that up all around campus. That's like the motto. Like, find a way.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, find a way to get it done. And our kids kind of embrace that, Jack included. Every rest of they just go. Find a way, when there's nothing to be said, and kids in a tough match, and just like Gator yesterday, he's in a tough match and he's scrapping and he's doing everything he can. Kid may be just a little bit better technical wrestler, and it was just like, what do you say to him? Well, just tell them they go find a way, and that's what they do. That's like, we ought to have that up in big letters all over around here, and I feel like our kids do a good job doing that.
Yeah, because like even that. Me learning that as a wrestler translates to everything I do in life. Running that youth tournament yesterday, when little things go wrong, you can't sit there and pout about it or anything. Like, you just have to adapt and find another way to like get that done immediately, and it just leads throughout your whole life.
It's the same whole way, that way we run all our athletic programs. And you look at it from football to wrestling, and we've grown at such a rapid pace. We haven't catched up staff-wise. It's like wrestling staff, there's not a large staff, and we've got a little kids tournament going on. We've got high school kids over here. We need to send girls over there, and it's just kind of it's nothing is ideal at it at time. Nothing's ideal about it at times. It's just what we do. We find a way, and we all go separate directions, and try to make the best and do the best job we can. And
people don't realize just between, the 4 or 5 of us in here trying to coordinate things, and really only 2 of us that are on school staff, and Coach Bean adds to that as well with a 3rd one, but you're limited with what you can do and get in here sometimes because of your school obligations. Like last weekend, Coach Bake, I sent you to Cash 4 times in one day, just shuffling kids back and forth, trying to make sure all of our programs are successful. And Coach Bean, yesterday, you come and start the youth tournament with me, go coach our youth kids and more. I break off to Weatherford, where Coach Baker and Coach Jackson are already at. It's just our philosophy. Find a way to get it done, no matter what. We're not going to have any coaches just magically appear and come on staff, and be able to do that. So we just adapt and overcome with what we have. And if we have 100 kids in here wanting to wrestle, we'll work till we fall out to make sure they get where they need to go and do what they need to do.
And I think that extends on into our parents and our supporters and stuff for the most part. Most of them, yesterday I was waiting on Coach Jackson to get there at Weatherford, and Jared said, hey, I know you're spread thin. This thing's going to go fast with 4 mats. If you need me, I'll dust down there and help in the corner, and we end up not needing to have to do that. But, I mean, that's just what we got. There's people that I don't want to just sit here and say like we just find a way as far as us, and we do. But man, we've got some good help on some people that that junior high tournament made me appreciate a lot of the parents that we have that were up in there until 11:30 at night with us. Stuck in the concession stand, which has got to be the worst place to be at a wrestling tournament all day. Kids working tables, parents, doing medals and brackets, and got their kids running around and they're trying to wrangle them, and that's just kind of like a little community we got, and they all help us, and we'll go find a way to get it done.
I saw something. One of our moms shared a post, and it's just one of them things you see people share all the time, and it said, "Make your team so strong that nobody knows who the leader is," and I feel like we're doing a good job of that around here. And like ultimately it falls on my head and being able to make sure our programs run well. But something that I've learned over the past few years is just being able to trust my community and the people we have around us. And just like you said, that we have like not just good involved parents, we have like fine people around us, like great members of the community that want to plug back in. I mean, Jared's the fire chief of the entire city of Lawton, and volunteers. And not only was he doing that for you yesterday morning, he was running my tournament here online remotely. And he ran my tournament the weekend before for 15 hours. And that's not just a dude that's a really important member of the community that's just sacrificing for this program. And he sacrificed a lot with kids like Jack growing up. And I'm sure he coached you a lot. And just talk about some of your younger coaching influences.
I remember Jared. Coach Jackson is probably the one that comes mostly to mind because he was the grappler head coach for the longest time. I just remember him being a coach. My dad was coaching sometimes. I remember a couple of tournaments. Yeah, he'd always coach me whenever he was there. But sometimes Coach Jackson, he had to work, and we'd take Hunter up to a tournament, and we just all ride up there, and we'd take Hunter home and stuff. And so I feel like we just had a really a good community, and they cared about us. They all wanted us to wrestle. They all wanted us to be good, and other parents would hey, my kid can't get a ride. JOC or JNC, I think when I was younger, I read to somebody I didn't even know. They just gave me a ride up there because my parents couldn't take me. And I really appreciate it.
You really appreciate it, man. And that's God, that's what wrestling makes you so thankful for sometimes. It makes you so grateful for is people that do that. And I had that even happen yesterday. Wayland rode with the Waldens up there, and they take him to weigh in, get him where he needs to be, make sure he's doing everything right. And that's so hard as a parent to have that happen. But when you have other obligations, you either figure out and find a way for them to go do the things you want, or you have to make other sacrifices in certain areas in your life. And to have a successful wrestling community, why we won a state championship, why we're good right now, is just because the community wanted to do that, and they were selfless and invested into each other and got kids where they needed to be.
That's what I love too. And it's just football ran long this year, which is a great problem to have. Or at least in my opinion. And,
yes, yeah.
But GB's coming over here after school now. Football's still going on. I'm not around in here, and there's no other place I'd rather be than over here in this room with those guys. And I come in, and he's going to open practice, and I come in, and I don't even coach him, and I don't want to coach him first off, but I'll go coach other kids, but there's nobody in that room that bothers me to go coach my kid. And that's what I like too. All these guys are in here volunteering and spending their time and their money. Let's make no mistake, they're spending their own money to do it too. That they work with. It's not where they go in and they work with this kid because this kid is really good, man. They work with all our kids and try to get all our kids better. And I think that's something I value because that's something that I try to do even at the high school level is to make sure that I focus not just on the kids that can play and get things done, but that I'm also I'm repping and trying to work with guys that aren't as good yet, to try to bring them along. And I think when I walk in here and I look around that youth room with my kids in here practicing, I see the same things out of those guys that are volunteering to do it and help out. That makes me happy about that.
Another question that your mom asked, which I think is a good question, but I want to ask you coaches too. Knowing what you know now, what would you have done different to prepare yourself in wrestling?
Probably when I was younger, honestly, because I got a bit of ADHD, and younger Jack wasn't really, the most focused kid in the room.
Oh, yeah, we've been on that.
Yeah, I was kind of, here, oh, look at this. I'm doing something after school, probably personally. I wish I would have just more focused better and like paid more attention, but like I wasn't really able to do that. I don't know.
Do you feel like the seriousness of the sport ran up on you a little quick? Like once you got into high school, you're like, oh crap, now I only have a certain amount of time to get this done.
Yes, that's that. And just like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'm here. I want to play a game, This is fun. But like as I got older, I was like, all right, you lose a few times. That kind of made me more mad. And like whenever I got older, I was like, I don't like losing. I don't want to lose. And it just kind of pushed me to make me, I want to get better. I got to push myself, I'm not the most technique person, so like I try to be more shape than most of the kids I wrestle, and that kind of irks me this year because I wasn't able to wrestle because I was hurt. It just kind of makes me mad that I'm not in as much shape as I want to, but like that's mainly it. Just I wish I would have paid more attention when I was younger.
Coach.
As a wrestler and as a coach, like first as a wrestler, I wish I probably would have competed. Like I would have opened my box a little bit more and competed outside of just what I was doing maybe during the spring or summertime. But overall, I'm happy with like how I performed in other sports and kept myself busy doing that and liked being a rounded athlete. But like as a coach, when I first got in here, I was involved with the youth, but I wasn't like in deep like I am now. I got a good taste of getting these kids when they were young, but maybe I wish I would have dove in a little bit more with them, and helped develop them a little bit more at that age and been able to put that in at that certain point in my career. But I was really focused at that time on making my high school as best as it could be to try to get some excitement around here and try to get kids interested in wrestling and try to build some hype. And I hope you guys felt that as you got older, because like when I first got here, we immediately like started qualifying for dual states, started putting kids in the state finals, started winning state championships. I've had 7 or 8 kids win state championships since I've been here 8 years ago. And I hope that like helped light y'all on fire and see that success. And like, that's what I was really, not saying that I don't dive in with the same effort now, but I've just learned how to manage it better now.
Like when I was younger, I always remember like they would walk through they walk through like the elementary buildings and like you give them high five, and I thought that was a cool. I was like, I always want to be like that. That's like that. Like that always motivated me. I was like, man, I want to be like that when I'm older. And that I feel like you succeeded in that part, because I was like, it got me excited to. Hey, I wrestle. These kids wrestle. Look at these big old guys out there going to state and stuff. And that made me like want to be better per se.
I think if I had to go back, like I wish I'd have paid more attention to the stuff that I can't control. You know what I mean? There's just certain stuff like kids when they worry. Like I remember being a kid just worrying about everything other than what's important. It's like now I'm faced with the reality of, my son's going to get to go to the Geary tournament one day, and he's going to walk into the wrestling room. You're going to see a list of state champions from Geary on there, and you're not going to see my name. Man, that really burns me up. It really does. But I know where my name's at in that room, funny enough. Back, they used to put conference placers. I know they painted over it, but you can still see a little bit of my name.
There you go, man.
But that's just all one of them things, though, man. I wasn't pushing every day in practice. I wasn't going hard. I wasn't finding the toughest practice partners. I was goofing off. And then right before my senior year, I got into an altercation, and, it didn't turn out too good for me. And then, I realized I needed to listen to somebody, you know what I mean? So that's when I became coachable, but just like you said, reality crept up on me, but I was a senior when that happened, My wrestling coach in high school, Coach Ferdinand, he said, man, you're a hell of an athlete. You can be really good, but you're not coachable. And
it sticks with you till today.
Oh, it burns me, dog. It burns me. I wish that man saved my life so many times. I wish I'd listened to him. And when I first met him in PE class in 2nd grade, I wish I'd listened to him, but I never did. And then I was a senior, and I was like, man, everybody was excited to graduate high school, and I was terrified. I was like, man, what have I done?
Even as a coach, like the beautiful thing I've seen about this 8 years later is hopefully him as a coach, he saw this as well, and he can see you now and see like the man you developed into. And just because of the lessons you were taught then, even though they were the kind of the hard way then, like you're on the other side, and it's like you're a great coach, you're a great father, you're a great like example to people in the community here. In the end, he succeeded, right?
Yeah.
So
I was saying, as far as I was a football guy that got into wrestling, and it's just kind of how it happened. I grew up in Tuttle, and so like that's what you did, Yeah. And my little league football coach was very heavy involved in the little league wrestling. And he told my dad he needs to wrestle. My parents didn't know nothing about wrestling, And I was one of those guys that I was better younger, and as I got older, I got worse. I think mainly because I just relied on stuff that, bigger and stronger. I was, believe it or not, athletic at one point in time in my life. And so, as I got to high school and then I moved, and it wasn't the same. Wasn't as the same intensity as it was, over there. And so it's just one of those things that if I go back, I'd just kind of try to keep evolving and not rely on, I could duck under and front trip anybody when through junior high. I got to high school, it crap didn't work no more, and I never evolved. But I think I got out of wrestling, which was really great, was it made me a lot better football player. And that's the way that's the reason why I am. Why not? These guys can tell you. I tell them all the time, you want to be a better football player, go wrestle. And we've got some guys in there like that. And I tell them at the same time, I don't care if you ever go wrestle a match, just go get in that room and go get after it, and it's going to make you a better football player. I'm a firm believer in that. And so I got out of that what I wanted, and then, but, I've grown to, I grew to love wrestling, and I do love it. I love being a part of it and helping and knowing my role, and I try to play, what my role is, the best of my ability in this room, and help these kids and kind of try to help pushing them to be successful. So
I think when Coach Baker talks about his role, like in the wrestling room, it's underplayed a lot. Like I rely on him a lot to be in these kids' heads and talking to them through practice and having these relationships. Just because, in the end, there's 14 weights, so that's 14 kids, but then there's 80-something in here, and there's one of me. And I'm trying to pour into each kid I possibly can, but Coach Baker really, really, I don't have to think about anything when it comes to that. He knows which kids to pick up when and where. If I talk to him a certain way, he talks to them the other way, And same thing with you, Coach Bean and Coach Jackson. That's just something you rely on as a coach. And just when people talk about their roles in here, I don't want them ever underplayed. There's such huge roles. I'm in there teaching a lot of the wrestling and the technique and all that stuff, but every single day Jack's bringing me something, showing the kids as well, and that helps out with certain situations. You're bringing me things, Coach Jackson, and just being able to throw all those together in a room. And I hope coaches are always receptive to being I can bring this to Coach Rowell and he'll show it, and he's not going to think this is goofy or anything, because wrestling's wrestling. If you have an opinion, I love to hear it, and we'll just go from there and make what's best with our kids. And wrestling, just if you're a coach, and I've seen young coaches get thrown into wrestling and they don't know anything about wrestling, and at the end it'll make you such a better coach, because you'll learn how to adapt and coach so many different kids and so many different styles, not only wrestling but personality wise. And because there's so many kids that are in this room that wouldn't last one day on that football field out there because they couldn't fit into the team structure. And then likewise, there's a lot of kids that couldn't last one day in this wrestling room. And as a coach, you get to see that and understand all sides of it. So even as a young coach, and if you don't know anything at a school and you're trying to get thrown into it, dive into it, and you'll get a lot out of it.
I think the biggest thing I recognize as being a wrestling coach, and like I said, I wrestled growing up, and so I understand it, but I know what I know too, and so I feel very comfortable with that, bringing things, talking kids through things. But I also know when I get in, and sometimes I just need to be quiet and not say anything. I think that's probably the biggest thing, and I feel like I'm pretty good at watching. I can watch Cody, and I can see what he's trying to do and what he's trying to accomplish in the room, and I can help kids work through that, And so when I say playing my role, that's what I mean. I just try to play my role and be what Cody needs me to be for this program, as far as this program to be successful. I enjoy our time. I enjoy Cody at football and coaching with him in football. I really enjoy coaching with him in wrestling. I think we play really well off of each other in the corners and stuff. And when I get agitated, get upset, he's able to sit there and say, no, we're going to let that go, like we did this weekend. And then it's vice versa too. It's just kind of it's a funny dynamic. I feel like we kind of
just don't ever need them our heads exploding at the same time.
Yeah.
Because then we're going to have to find our wives to come down and pull us off because they know we depend on each other in those situations. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm fortunate with people that want to invest back into it. And I don't know, for you guys too, like, I know it's not just because you like me, you know, I'm an asshole in here sometimes, not to y'all, I feel like, and but just the burdens of every day weigh on me sometimes of being able to run all this program. But you guys get the benefit of having your kids in this culture and stuff, and like I try to make sure, like the best of my ability, that they reap those benefits like every other kid that's in here. And at a young age, like I've talked about it every podcast, you know, with my coaches, you can't provide them the riches, but being able to give them stuff like that, I hope that they see how much, not only myself, you guys, Derek, you coached my kid yesterday. Y'all guys talk to my kids throughout practice. We just rely on each other for stuff like that. And
all y'all got to coach my kid because I'm not coaching. The amount that he's gotten out, that's the amount he's gotten out of it. Like he thinks Cody's, you know, Coach Rowell's the man to him, and I appreciate that because he's working through things. And he's one of those kids that he's going to have to go if he wants to really want to do it, and he says he does right now because Coach Rowell's made it such a welcoming environment for him, and he loves it. Yeah. You know, he loves coming in this room, and he loves being around all these guys, these high school guys, and
except Jack, he don't.
No, that's bullcrap. They say they're mortal enemies, but as soon as they're both in the room together, they gravitate right towards each other.
Same person.
Yeah, like, you know, for real. But like, it's been such an environment for him, and he has grown. And I know Cody, me and you have talked about it. He's grown so much, and that means a lot to me to be in this program and pushing back and pouring back into these kids because other men are pouring back into mine. It's pretty important.
I love the environment here. I know my kid looks up to you. We was just sitting here the other day, and I had to tell you, hey, thank you, man. You know what I mean? Because Dax, man, me and Coach Baker seen it at the same time. He was wrestling Luke and giving Dax a good look, and Dax did a reshot with fireman's. You know what I mean? It was high crouch, and I was like, wow, man, that's way. Way more than what I was at that age, man. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful. And me and Dax have a pretty open relationship, and we talk about this stuff, and he knows that, you know, he's better than me at that age. You know what I mean? We have that conversation. And I explained to him, that's my job. You know what I mean? If you're not better than me, what did I do? You know what I mean? I didn't do what I was supposed to, you know?
My son's better than I was at that age, too, you know? And, like, that's just something that, I don't know, you're happy about, but you're not content with, you know, and like you keep pushing your kids to be better, and this room really helps facilitate that, you know, just being around the older kids.
Well, I mean, this is like my kid went from having to make him wrestle and just come be in a room and had to make him go wrestle on tournaments that he signed himself up for a tournament.
Yeah, he signed himself up for a tournament this year.
You know, like something, you know, something good is happening in this room to get that. And when we went from kind of like not really forcing, because my rule has always been with my kids. And I got an older son I'm extremely proud of, and he does his own thing, man, and he's not an athletic, so I'm proud to death of him. But I've always made it, you don't have to do this, but you have to do something. You know, it doesn't matter. You can't just go to school. You can't just go to school and come home and be a slug. That's not how this works. You're going to be involved in some kind of activity where you learn what I think, you know, all extracurricular gives you: work with other people, work for a common goal, and put some, you know, build some discipline. And so that's always been my rule. But we did kind of push him this way because he's built a little different than his brother, and went from having to kind of push him into this to, you know, he's signing up for his own tournaments. He's playing football next year. He's going to be a state champion. I said, Tommy, I'm going to state. I said, well, if you work really hard, man, one day you'll get there. He goes, no, I'm going to state this year. I'm like, yeah, hold on a minute. Let's wait a minute, you know. And he goes wrestle that tournament, and he wins the match. He loses several. He gets pieced up. And I really loved it. Like, he's pissed after every match he lost, and that was great. And I got to sit over there and be dad. That's how I really enjoyed coach. I ain't got my little card to get down there and coach the little kids. I got to kind of sit back and just watch and be a dad, and that's nerve-wracking and cool at the same time, you know. So,
well, I mean, if there's never ever a PSA announcement to youth coaches right there, or youth parents, like, listen to that. Like, that's a kid that we just loved into the sport, you know, and made it a cool environment. And people get so hung up on getting these kids in here and just yelling at them and just drilling them into the ground. And people probably think that people that are outside the program are like, you say that, Coach Rowell, but like your kid won a youth state championship, your kid wins matches and stuff. You're probably in there doing all this extra. I like literally nothing. Literally nothing. He's in here. I don't coach him through anything. I let him come in here and have fun at this age, and took some square ones yesterday. And like, you saw my frustration. I sent you a message that like sent my frustration about it. That's my kid. That's my dad's side coming out in me. But my coach side knows, like, man, my son's going to get better because of that. And like, if you want your kid to be successful, if you want your kid to be a Jack Anglley or any of these kids that are loving wrestling as a senior, like looking forward to your senior year, dude, you have a bad shoulder injury right now. Like, it's not good, but like, you would, no matter if your shoulder was amputated off your body, you would find a way to go wrestle your senior year because you love wrestling. Yeah. You know, and if you want your kid to be that person, like, get them raised in this environment with these men that are in here right now, because we have the right people in here that are trying to invest in these kids and do the right things.
That's like Tuesday through Thursday, Gage Baker, 6 hours of wrestling. As he comes over here and goes, like, you know, before he got sick, but like, he's over here, he's rolling around with high school, you know, while high school's rolling. He wants to be up here for novice practice. And even if it's just running around with his friends and playing games and really not even paying attention to wrestling, he's around the wrestling room. And then he's going through open practice. And my wife's going, I don't know if we can do that. I can't get him out of bed the next day. That's the best problem in the world to have, you know. And
yeah, you're getting him out of bed after a full day of activities,
yes,
up all night gaming, watching TV,
exactly,
doing what like normal kids do. Not normal kids, like kids that are not disciplined through like a sport or don't have, like what you said, and you said the simplest of simple. You're not going to not do anything. You're going to do something, you know. And if you don't give your kids some kind of direction, like, they will do nothing, you know. But you don't have to give them the direction and stand over them and harp them into the ground to love something. Like, you can do it the right way.
But you said something I want to touch on. I'm sorry, I'm hijacking your stuff. You was talking about Waylon and just you being frustrated with that and stuff. And I feel that too, because nobody likes to watch their own kid we all want our kids to be successful. We don't like to watch our kids but I don't know. I'll ask you. I get the same way coaching these guys and watching them lose a match that they shouldn't like. It's like I'm watching you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm watching my own kid lose one, you know, especially, you know, when it's guys like Jack and Colin and Jason, you know, what they've put into, you know, what they put into being where Hunter, you know, Hunter's, I hate watching Hunter anytime that he's stumbled and lost a match, because I know what he's done and put into it. But like, I just didn't know it. That's like kind of, you know,
it's heartbreaking. And if you're a coach like us, like, you feel every single one.
Yeah.
Just like that, your armpits are sweating in the corner. Even yesterday, we won a tournament by almost 200 points. Like, we blew a tournament out of the water, but like, one of my kids lost on Friday. Like, Bryce lost a match. That upset me. Like, and like, still set me off like the whole time. And then he got it back yesterday. And like, I was like, all right, things are right in the world, you know. And George lost a match to a kid you beat later on, Jack. And like, I felt that one personally with Jack. You took care of it the other way, you know, and just.
It's just like when Casey goes wrestles again in the finals. I'm trying to get out of the corner because I don't want to be responsible for anything, because like the moment like, you're like, no, we're all gonna be over here for this. But like, I don't want to
because
like,
like
you know,
him and Ritson are kids that I like for you to have around, you know, because your personality with them works out really well. And like, not saying that I don't, but like, you got to have that second one in there, and you feel them so personally.
It's just like, that's every time you like help a kid make a decision and go, all right, you go down here and say, like, I agonize over those decisions sometimes, especially in close matches. Like, I agonize, like, I know kind of what the right thing is to do from wrestling terms, you know, where to go, but like, I agonize like over that. Like, is that the right decision, or did I help this kid get in a position to be successful, or did I hurt him, you know? And so
even
like, it's tough.
Jack yesterday won his match. I took him in the wrestling room, made him run afterwards, you know, and got after him because I didn't like the way he won, you know. And if I was a coach that didn't care and wasn't like receptive of that, like, and if I didn't love you the way I do love you, I would just say, good job, Jack, you won a tournament, great job, and like, wouldn't hold you accountable for the way the match ended. You ended on bottom, getting rode. Like, it's not what we want to do. And I feel like our personal relationships allows us to have that. A lot of kids would just be like, Coach, I won a tournament, leave me alone. You know, you went in there and ran them sprints and came back out just because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Something I personally agree with. Coach Bake said it earlier. It's whenever you got somebody like, it's in football, I tell them to go wrestle. If they're in wrestling, I tell them to go play football because, like, I feel like when I was in, like, I've been wrestling for, like, a long time. I didn't start football until about 7th grade, but I'm glad I did both. Like, I feel like wrestling, like, they kind of complement each other. Both sports kind of complement each other. Like, wrestling, man, it builds you mental toughness because you're out there. You can't rely on anybody whenever you're in a match. It's you against somebody else. That's like, from doing that from such a young age, made me so competitive. I want to push myself. I want to be the best I can be. I hate losing because, like, when you lose in wrestling, who are you going to blame? I mean, maybe the ref made a bad call, but, like, you could have done something about that match to make you win. And that helps me in football because I don't want to be that weak link. I want to make myself better. And I feel like that's what our defense was out there.
That's why we had the best defense in the state.
Yeah,
because every one of you kids that were out there, you 7 kids that were wrestlers, you were taught accountability at a young age, and like you were accountable if things went wrong for this and nothing else. And if you all held your ends together, like y'all were solid, y'all had the best defense in the state.
Listen, it's just like Jack is prime example, and Colin a year ago and Jace a year ago. You got to drag them off out of competition, and that's what I really enjoy about wrestlers because, Jack got hurt at Piedmont, played the whole next game. Colin was hurt all a year ago. Jace was hurt all a year ago, and these guys, they've learned that mindset, of never quit, and I'm going to go until I absolutely cannot go, or somebody tells me I can't. And I think we see that. I think that's built here in this room because there's nowhere to run and hide. You got to find a way through it.
Right. And like to the point where like kids don't want to bring us injuries. They don't want to disappoint us. Mm-hmm. They don't want these things happening. We have to go talk to them and say, hey, it's okay to pull back a little bit. And I know at the first of the season with you were seriously hurt. Like couldn't use that arm at one point, and like you want to go wrestle. You're in here in practice. I'm having to pull you off of kids, and like it's just you guys do a good job of being receptive of those things and growing through them. And I don't know, maybe talk about that a little more, just about injuries and how you overcome and fear of disappointment and stuff.
Yeah, because you got some injury stories.
Yeah, dude, you've been beat up.
Yeah.
From junior high state that year?
Yeah, elbow completely twisted around on the mat.
That was...
Yeah, I wasn't too excited to jump in after that one. That one kind of, like, I can't even extend my elbow all the way out there. It just kind of goes about.
Broke your femur in 7th grade.
No, that was my growth plate, 7th grade. Broke my thumb twice, broke my knee.
Toe.
Dislocated a toe. I've done a lot of stuff. I got a dirt bike accident on my left knee, and I got nerve damage on the left side of my knee. I could see my bone whenever I did it. I didn't even know I did it. I was riding through the woods, and we get back to the camp, and I take off my pants. There's a hole in my knee, and I'm like, oh, we got to go to the hospital for this, I think. They said, oh, let me see. And I
remember the one year, and this brings some anger back, but this fool over Christmas break got in a plane with his buddy, his 16, 17-year-old buddy, got in a plane, flew to Missouri to visit Arkansas to visit their other buddy. And then, their plane gets too cold and it can't come back. These are two 16, 17-year-old kids, and he misses Christmas practice because of it. What were you, a sophomore? You were literally 16.
It was last year.
That was last year?
Yes.
And,
golly.
he's a pilot. He can fly around, and I enjoy that.
He's a kid that has his license.
Yeah, he has his license.
One of my good friends in high school. We used to go fly. We used to go fly around this plane. He takes up. He gets on the runway, and on those planes, you steer with the pedals when you're on the ground. Oh, no. But it's got a joystick. He'd be like, all right, you got to
joystick.
It's he's like, all right, you got to drive us out on the runway. And so he would make that plane like it was going to go run off the runway with the pedals, and you're in there with that before you're going, no, you have to crash it, and stuff like that.
And that's just you think as a person that just listed all that list of injuries, you should be getting in a plane with somebody.
Yeah. I'll tell the story. It's all right. So we fly up there, and we're gonna come back, and it's later at night, and we're in the smallest plane out there. It's 150 cc. It's a 2-seater.
Max dirt bike that's strong, I think.
Yeah. Max speed's about 85. And we get back there because we fly down there. We were only going to eat lunch with them and come back, but we went back there that night and won't start. It's too cold and like you can't. Like it's like the engine won't start. You can't fly back. And nothing. We didn't like drive there, so we couldn't drive back. We had to fly back. And we get there in the morning and we're like, we sleep it off. We get there in the morning. It's still a little too cold.
You sleep off the butt chewing from me from not coming back to practice. Yeah.
And then and then we sit there, we go to eat, and it starts up, we're like, all right, and we flying back, and like, we got to go back because, he's yelling at me, and so we're coming back, and it's a little windy, a little bit more windy than we thought. It's about 75 mile an hour headwinds. Thing goes about 85 miles an hour, so ground speed is about 112. And we're trying to fly back, and we're just getting blown in the air. Like, we're just trying to fly straight, and we're getting pushed back like this. And yeah.
Fools are in a hang glider. These guys are in a hang glider.
These things aren't very heavy. We're just sitting there. We're crawling back. And we go to land because, like, we need gas. But, like, winds that fast and airplanes that are that small, it's kind of hard to land it. Like, and so we're sitting there. We go to land at this first runway. The lights won't turn on because it's night. The runway lights will not turn on. And so he's like,
where's this at?
This is up in the...
How did y'all find a runway?
Oh, there's an app. It has like everything. It has like maps.
That's what y'all made it back, dog.
This story, all right, keep going.
And he was like, I can't land here. And I was like, just because the lights aren't on, it's not that good. He's like, that's not how that works, Jack. Whatever, okay. And we go to this next one, and he goes in, and I'm thinking, all right, we're all good. He's going to land this thing. And he pulls up, and I'm like, what's that for? And he was like, I didn't have that. And I was like, oh. Like, that just kind of shook me a little bit. Like, what do you mean you ain't got that? And he goes, because, like, when, like, he's sitting there, he's trying to cut in at, like, an angle, and you're getting blown. So, like, it just doesn't work. And we go to this next run, and the wind is, like, right at us, and he says, I can't land that. And I'm like, what do you mean we can't land? And he's like, we're going back to that other one. I'm like, okay, whatever, big guy. I can't really do anything in this situation because, like, I don't know what I'm doing up there.
You got a parachute?
75 mile an hour, that thing ain't gonna open up.
All right.
And so we fly back. We're going back to the one that he said no to the second time. And we go back, and he's like, he's drifting this thing in there basically because it's like the wind's so fast. He's just kind of going like this. He gets it around, and it's shaky, and I'm just like looking out the window because like there ain't nothing I can do. The only thing I can do right now is to shut up because I don't want to distract him. We get in there, he lands it. Thankfully, I had to call my mom. She wasn't very happy. So, like, we're up in Prague.
She came and got you?
We're up by Shawnee right now. She had to drive up there like 1:30 in the morning.
Way to go.
Yeah, it was a quiet road. It was a quiet ride.
I can't believe just the thought of you and another
person that's your friend.
Yeah. And I know the kid, he's a good kid and everything, but boy, just the undeveloped brains up in that.
I just had faith in my pilot. I don't know what y'all talking about.
All right.
I got one more question before we get to final words. We talked a little bit what it's like to coach you, but what style of coaching you kind of gravitate towards?
Tough coaching. I'm not the most focused. I need somebody to be after me. Coach Bake does a great job of that. You've done a great job of that, but like ever since you got here, you've been Aggie 3 and me. I didn't have to do this many. That's on the football field. That's you gotta do up downs every 5 yards for 100 yards. You gotta bear crawl 100 yards, and then you gotta barrel roll 100 yards. And after a full practice in the heat and on that hot turf, having to be down there, that's motivation right there to get to school on time.
Yeah, go to class on time.
I know somebody who needs a little bit of Aggie 3s in their life right now. I'm not gonna name names, but like.
You already know.
Talk about the champ.
Wait on him yesterday.
Yeah. We're gonna have to sort that out tomorrow.
But yeah, no, just hard-nosed coaching, telling me like I need somebody to straighten me out every once in a while, and I really appreciate that they've straightened me out. I feel like it's helped me. It's gonna make me grow as a man.
He's right. Me and Coach Bake talk about that a lot. Like, man, we chewed Jack up and down, but he took it well. He took it well. Yes, sir. Responded. And I don't think I've ever like chewed you and you haven't responded well. So like that lets us as coaches know. All right, that's what that kid needs. We're gonna hammer him. And yeah, I've had to get after you a lot of times.
they tried to say, his mom was out there watching me Aggie 3 him, and they tried to say I was kicking him while he was rolling. I said I was not kicking him.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he's sitting over there trying to tell me, I don't want to have to do this to you, Jack. You got a little smirk on your face as you're doing it. Like you may take no enjoyment in this.
I've had to physically accost you in this room a few times too.
Yeah.
Just happens. That's the joy of being a wrestling coach too. Like, I have a lot of headaches, but in the end, I get to get my hands on these kids in here every once in a while, and it's the ultimate decider.
Final words, Cody. You want to talk to him a little bit about that?
Yeah, so pretty much we'll just talk about a goal for you personally this season, and then a goal for the team, and just someone you're excited to watch wrestle this year.
Personally, I want to make it to the finals, like really bad. State finals. I have some work to do if I want to do that. I gotta get back into shape. Can't take reps off in the gym. I gotta be 100% like focused during practice. That's just what I think I gotta do if I want to do it. I can do it. I know I can. It's gotta be me who decides it. Ain't no one gonna be able to do it other than me.
I'm going to play this podcast in your ear over and over and over.
And the team, obviously, another dual state. Are we going to that one dual tournament? Or no? No. I was going to say, I want to get a shot at some of those teams, but we're not doing that. So, dual state, I want to win that. And people I'm excited to watch. I always I like watching our big guys. They're good. I always got confident they're going to win. When I see them in a tough match, I'm like, yeah, but everybody else has to go through.
Any girls you're excited to watch?
Oh, my sister she could be good. She needs to get yelled at sometimes, too. I feel like she's got the same kind of mentality I got,
Talk about
Scoot a little
that.
closer.
Talk about that a little bit.
My sister, yeah, she's a little bit bigger, She's been in the weight room, and she's, I just want her to realize that she is stronger than she thinks. Boy physiques are two different things right here. And I feel like there's more of there could be more of a dramatic strength size in boys wrestling, but when Abby, she's pretty strong for a girl. She just needs to get that in her mind that she's bigger than these girls. She's got to be she's got to get in her mind that she can win these, and she got to be more tougher on these girls and just.
I mean, she's 6'1", she's 6 foot, right? I mean, she's
something. I don't know.
She's 6 foot, 190 pounds. She is a big, tall, athletic girl. And you're right. She doesn't know her own strength sometimes. Yeah. And I see so many similarities with y'all, though, and stubbornness in certain positions, like the bottom position. As a 190-pound wrestler, no matter male or female, going on bottom is a ride. It's hard to get up. And she has had to overcome a lot of things with that. And you, as a 165-pound slender man, still struggle on bottom. Your legs are literally 6 feet long, too. So it's probably hard to get off bottom in some instances, and I understand that. But y'all two know if the score is 0-0, your butt's going on bottom. Yeah. And y'all are receptive of overcoming that.
I just feel like she just needs to get in her mind that I need to be the bigger person. And I just need to, she just needs to.
He did make the choice this weekend a couple times to go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I look at y'all and they're just sitting there looking at me, and I'm like, well, I guess this one's my decision because I feel like when I look at y'all coach other people down, but sometimes I've noticed in matches y'all looking at me what you want, Jack, because it goes back to what y'all said about
can't coach you.
Can't coach me.
You're coachable, but we can't coach your style.
Yeah, just y'all what you most comfortable with, and I gotta sit there and think, I want to go top, bottom, or news. If I think I could turn this kid, I'm gonna go on top. But I felt like in that situation that I was winning. I need to work on bottom. I need to go down. And
what a mature answer.
But yeah, no. And I just feel like I needed to go on bottom, and that's just what I feel like with my sister. She just needs to get mentally tough, and that she's
Y'all ever wrestle at the house?
She tries to go for body weight.
I bet she headlocks the crap out of him, dog.
Takes the last plate of spaghetti at the house. You ain't getting none.
When you're done, take out the trash.
Yeah, exactly. Do my homework.
Man, it's fun to be back, and it's it's an enjoyable group of young men to get to coach and be around. They're fun. I'm excited to watch Jace wrestle, obviously, because he missed a year ago and got that shoulder back, and it's been really fun to see him out really get after. And I've watched these guys, even before I got here. We've been at some tournaments when I was coaching, and I've always talked to them because I've known Jace and like Colin and them guys, Shay, for them guys for a long time. So I'm excited to watch those guys wrestle and see if they can improve upon what they did a year ago. Get back to dual state, and that's number one. We got to go take care of business at district duels, and then see if we can go repeat at that, and then see if we can have a little bit better showing in the state tournament this year. I'm got some high hopes for quite a few people to get into some medal rounds there at the state tournament. More than we put in there a year ago, so it would be exciting to see for sure. I'm just glad to be along. Be able to be a part of it. It's fun to be in here. Enjoy all the guys I work with. Enjoy these kids that we get to work with. So it's fun.
Yeah, I think more. Dual state was incredible, and I want to put together the best dual team and showcase our kids. But this year, I was heartbroken not winning the state tournament last year, to be honest with you. And it took me some stuff mentally to go through and just reevaluate and set things. And I think my goal, this year, obviously I want to win all these things, but I want our kids to have the best result possible at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And if that takes care of itself, we'll win the state tournament. Mm-hmm. We'll do what we're supposed to. I want our kids to fulfill their individual goals and make that all come together for the team process. I want these kids, I want Jack to go out his senior year the way he wants to go out. And I just think that's really what I want for these kids. And I talk about with each kid on here each week, I want our personal relationship. I want to enjoy my time with Jack. Not to say I'm not going to chew your butt all the way down to the very end, but in the end, that's love too.
Yeah.
And I'm very just thankful for our relationship. Just a last question I wanted to ask you and get into just more on the personal side, because you're kind of an awkward and quirky kid that sits here with 3 fingernails painted purple before he went out and wrestled this weekend. You're big into anime and just other kinds of things that normal kids aren't into. Talk about
normal kids aren't into.
Normal kids aren't into.
Your age aren't into. Talk about just some of your interest outside of the wrestling room real quick. What you like to do.
I feel like I'm more of an outdoors kid too. I like to hunt and fish, build things. I go to Votech with auto body. We learn how to weld. Dude, I love melting metal. That's so cool. Just starting with that. But yeah, I like anime. I've seen about 85 different ones since my high school, because I wasn't always like that. I used to be, not kidding. Anime's weird, It's got an open mind, I feel like. But yeah, I got a katana.
Yeah, I was about to say you have an extensive collection of swords.
Yeah, one of my favorite characters is Zoro. He's from One Piece, He's got 3 swords. And I have one of his swords because I think it's just the coolest thing ever, It's like growing up cartoons, I feel like. Piecing people up.
They saying this stuff, but I like One Piece. And I've only heard it because that's like my son, my oldest son's got a sword. And he does metal melting stuff or whatever. I don't know. I tell him not to burn my shop down. So
that's when I just love being able to showcase kids that you see a big tough wrestling athlete out here, and he has completely different interests outside of that, and it shows just a different side of you, and that all other kids have. You're a normal dude, you have all these athletic accomplishments as well, and that's cool. We make fun of you a lot and call you a weirdo, and you'll have anime as your back screen on your phone.
I got an anime singlet.
Anime singlet you want to wear in the finals, which, I don't know, you make the state finals, I'll get an Elgin singlet and put an anime sign on it for you or something. Whatever it takes, buddy.
do it.
Coach Bean brightened up real quick.
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't know. That's just stuff that I'm not extremely exposed to yet, and I like seeing the different side of kids.
Our final words was going to be a question. If you had to give a pitch for an NIL deal to anybody, who would it be?
Monster.
Monster?
Yeah. Talk about it.
Dude, I love caffeine. I got some caffeine gum right now. Caffeine gum, cutting weight, you can't be drinking these monsters, that's weight, that's bound, it's got some stuff in it, but these caffeine gum doesn't add that much weight, that's just what I like to do.
What's the brand?
I don't know, but I got 100 milligrams of caffeine in each gum.
You need the brand so you get that NIL deal.
Yeah, anybody with that caffeine gum trying to get my boy Jack, right?
His caffeine deal. Remember that, it was his junior year, football, we had that pregame, and they had like Mountain Dews and stuff in there. He had like 3 Mountain Dews.
Man,
Played his best game ever.
Blowing through Mountain Dews before the pregame, and Coach White's head's about to explode. Which mine too. I hate seeing kids like doing stuff like that before they go compete. You're a different beast.
Yeah.
You're a different beast. Get that man his Mountain Dew, get him some caffeine, let him rock. And Mountain Dew is probably not the best choice for your caffeine source.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look for your NIL deal. You might be the first one sponsored by Caffeine Gum.
Monster.
Been Monster.
Shout out.
Monster.
Shout out to Monster and Caffeine Gum. Put my hands up.
That's one of my top 3 favorite things right there. Caffeine, anime, and
I know, just like if I'm walking around at a tournament in the morning with coffee or something, Jack will come up, smell it, try to get a drink out of it. I'm like, damn.
I remember him making him coffee overweight for regionals.
Yes, overweight.
In the hotel.
And he's in there making his coffee after weight, and I'm like, "What are you doing, son?"
I said, Coach Boy, Jack
That was at
died that
Dole State,
day.
right?
that was regional.
That was regionals.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Things are already going bad.
That was a lively hotel lobby, and then probably woke some people up.
Weren't you over? And then go from there.
Yeah, we can do that.
Altus, right? Our second duel of the year. Both are high school and our middle school pretty much handling business. Pretty much similar scores, right?
Yeah, we both scored over 50 points. I think 55 in the high school, 54 in the junior high. Gave up 15 in high school and 18 in junior high, I think. So that was a good road trip for us. It's hard to travel to Altus and make weight and do all that stuff and do everything right. Last week of school, right before a break, kids went and handled business. You know, it was a good environment in there. They put on a good dual atmosphere, I felt like, for our kids. And
They did. When it comes to situations like the skill issue, right? Like their skill was obviously different than ours,
yes.
right? So is your way to negate that, right? Is there something that you do as a head coach as far as like, hey, like I know it says you're right on right now, but let's try to get a little more off just so we're comfortable?
I tell my kids every single time, don't leave it up to their skills. You know, our skills are certified. Coaches should make sure their skills are certified. Not saying theirs weren't or anything. It's just sometimes you get in weird situations and skills aren't acting right. And he knew that too, but they weren't acting right for his kids in the same way. You know, so I just tell our kids, if you're flat, like, you're taking a huge gamble if you leave and their skill could be heavy. You know, why not make sure you're a little bit under? Because we had kids that were pound under and then maybe like 0.2 over when they got there. And it's just, once you get there, there's not a lot you can do. You need to make the weight on the skill that's provided for you. And we trust as coaches, everybody's doing the right thing. And their coach there did a great job. He moved the scale to another room, let our kids weigh in another area, and one kid ended up making weight, and one kid did not end up making weight. And he had a kid not make weight at first, and he made weight the second time when we moved the scale. And within legal proportions and everything, we just did everything we could to test the scale, and that's just how it went. And kids need to adapt and overcome. And thankfully, we were deep enough in our lineup where we had an extra kid weight in. We didn't have to forfeit that weight. Yeah. Our kids bumped up a weight, wrestled good kids, and prevailed. You know, so that's what a good team should do. A number one ranked team should do in this class, I feel like. So that was good.
They had a situation for their middle school. One of their kids actually missed weight, right? So. Yes. And we went ahead and we got the forfeit, but we was still able to wrestle that match. Is that common?
Yeah, most coaches just make an agreement. You know, kids are there. We've traveled. Might as well try to get the match in. And that's always my goal, too, is no matter what, just try to get some time in for the kids to wrestle. And in the duel, that's just how you handle it. You take your forfeit points. And if the coach is cool just running it right there, you go ahead and just let them wrestle. And your kid scores for the team. And we lost the match, actually, that we got the forfeit in. But, you know, that's just part of it. You have to make weight. You have to do things right. And that just teaches kids at a younger age that you should be doing things correctly.
That was Jack Anglley's first match of the year, wasn't it? Because he was still hurt at Weatherford, right?
He wrestled Santa Fe South. Because we had a duel before. We had Santa Fe South on Tuesday.
Yeah. Which
we kind of just skipped over, but that was our home opener.
There?
I think he wrestled in the Santa Fe South duel.
Man, did all that out.
So that would be his first duel, was against Santa Fe South. We wrestled them on Tuesday. The kids took care of business at home, and you know that's another 5A team that we keep on the schedule just because that coach always tries to bring competitive kids at certain weights, and they want a few weights off of us. Right. And I don't know, he did did me a favor one year after a lot of cancellations with COVID and whatnot. He came and did a senior night here for my kids, which was much appreciated. So I just try to keep them on the schedule, and we traveled to them last year, and I'll try to travel back. And the duel is like, it is what it is. It's not ever extremely competitive. We're a better team than them, but like I respect coaches that want to show their kids what you're striving for. And I've been in the same situation. I used to wrestle teams like that when we were not very good, and I was trying to build my program. So I don't know. I try to just return the favor to coaches that are good to us, and we try to make sure we feed teams that come in. We feed their coaches after weigh-in, and just be hospitable because, in the end, we are the number one ranked team in our class. And if you're a team that's trying to develop, like, you have to pick and choose what your good and bads from, when you're going to duel teams like us. And like, they take the good out of it. They won a few matches, they traveled, got treated well, I feel like. And I don't know, just we try to do that. And that builds wrestling, that just builds the wrestling community.
After that, we have the high school Weatherford tournament. So at the Weatherford tournament, we had a Talon tie nipper at 113 get first place.
Correct.
Hunter Jackson, first place at 120.
Wrestled Dylan Lazar in the finals.
Yep. Bryce Martin got first place at 126.
Avenged a loss from earlier.
Who was it?
Praft from Bridge Creek.
Good. And then Dylan Brown got third at 132.
Correct.
Gage Elam got first at 138.
Gage Elam with the freshman dub.
Yeah, boy, Gator.
Braxton and Tuna won a lot of matches this weekend, won the tournament.
Gage is a sophomore, isn't he?
Gage is a sophomore.
Yeah. And then Braxton got first at 144. Casey Myers second at 150. How was that match?
Man, it was a 2-point match. Rerun from earlier. Lost a 2-point match. Just a good, hard-fought battle. Like, Casey just got to get in a little better shape. And I don't know, he'll be fine come the end of the season.
I see Josh Adesolo won a match.
He did.
Gabe Dittmeyer got first at 157.
Had a good tournament.
Jack Anglley got first at 165. George Tadenepper got third at 165.
The same weight as Jack.
Yeah. Colin Donnelly got first at 190. Liza Mares
got sixth. 190.
Yeah. And then Ritson Myers got first at 215. Zayden Roberts got third at 215. Shay got second at 285. And Jace Williams got first at 285.
And outstanding wrestler.
Good for him.
Much deserved. I mean, there's a lot of kids. Like Ritson won a tough weight. Colin won a pretty tough weight, but Jace looked the best. With the Weatherford tournament, the competition is what it is. There are a lot of people look at the first part of the year's competition that we've wrestled in, and it's nowhere near what we're going to see in January, but that's fine. That's the buildup our kids need. Our kids went late into football season. So going out and I just looked at records today, several kids have over 15 matches already, and that's tremendous. And some of those matches are contested matches, even though competition wasn't great at some weights this weekend. Like our upper weights got pushed. Colin, Ritson, they both wrestled decision matches in the finals and semis, and one was against a teammate. And I feel like our kids were pushed at certain weights and got good competition in when it came to that tournament. And we ran away with the tournament by more than 150 points, I think. Yes. But that's what we should do. That's what we should do. Clinton is a good 4A formidable opponent, and then there were some Texas schools that had some tough kids, but that's just what we should do. We go and enjoy it right before break, and just a lot of it's still hashing out our team too, trying to get kids down to weight, trying to run ranking matches, and just settle our team for when we go to the Gary tournament after the first of the year, and just try to grind through the month of January, because our January schedule is a grind. We go to Gary, we go to Carl Albert, which is every tough team in 5A. And then we have 2 number 1 ranked opponent duels. We wrestle Marlowe, who's number 1 in their class, and we wrestle Tuttle, who's number 1 in 4A. And that's just a good challenge we've set in front of our team. And as a smart coach, and as I like to think, a coach that's doing things right, not putting my kids through the gauntlet in December and trying to prepare them for that. Hopefully it's going to be the best recipe, and then ultimately getting us ready for February, where we want to be our best.
Can you talk about the 215-pound match?
Rithen's match?
Yeah, with Zayden.
With Zayden, I wasn't there for that one, to be honest with you. But from everything I heard, it was a highly contested match until third period, and then Rithen took him down and caught him in a pinning situation and pinned him. But, they're close matches, always. Zayden's a great great wrestler that unfortunately stuck behind a state champion right there. And then I would like to thank a state champion at heavyweight who's there holding Shay, who's a state qualifier, from being in the lineup. Zayden, who I know had been a state qualifier last year at probably one of those weights. And Zayden, who would start on any team right now and be in the running to be, pushing for a state championship. He's just in a spot in the lineup where we're really good. Right. That's good for us. That's good for us.
What else you want to talk about?
I just want to kind of talk about what we have coming forth now. This is Monday, December 18th.
Yep.
And just kind of looking forward to our week and what we have coming up. We're practicing today at 2 p.m. And then tomorrow we'll travel to Comanche and we'll duel against my brother's team over there and hopefully do some podcasts during the duel we kind of talked about and do some live interviews and feeds with the kids maybe and highlight that just because of my brother over there. And our high school duel will be what it is. His team's young and I don't think it'll be as competitive as it normally would be. And Casey knows that as well. So we're trying to make the best matchups we can for the high school duel, but really showcase our girls program, both junior high and high school. And then always my favorite, we're running youth duel before, with all the young kids and a lot of girl matches and just trying to showcase what we have coming up. Not only our high school kids are going to finish off their semester with a good duel against Casey's kids who are always coached well. And we're going to push him to the brink, in certain matches, but just when it comes to putting the whole team together, he's young right now. And I'm excited, looking forward to that. Then after that, we'll take some time off. I'll try not to be involved with anything wrestling related for a few days until after Christmas, the 26th. That's just time where I'd like to focus on my family and try to reset and, let my coaches reset, let the kids reset and just really push hard. Because those Christmas break practices, when we get back on the 26th, we start going at 9 a.m. all the way through the week until New Year's Eve. And that's the preparation camp for Gary right there. That's where we're going to get kids ready. And just our kids know starting the day after Christmas is not ideal. I normally try to give them a day after that, but just the way the schedule works out, we need to prepare. And kids will be coming back from where they're at over break and everything that day and getting into practice. And then the next day, just kids can't miss practice. We got to prepare, especially if you're getting ready for those tournaments. And we'll have our 15U group getting ready to go JOC, junior high, and our youth kids. And everybody, that'd just be a good week of training. And we'll go to JOC that weekend, and I'll have practice here as well and try to navigate that. And go back to school at the weekend after that, and my high school will still just be preparing for Gary tournament. High school girls and junior high girls will duel Duncan on January 4th at Duncan. And then the next day, the 5th and 6th, we'll go to Gary with the high school tournament, with the high school crew, and just prepare for that.
For the Comanche duel, do you want to talk about lineups any as far as, maybe some of the backups are going to get a chance to wrestle?
Yeah, we're going to put Zayden in at 215 and let him wrestle and just try to move some other kids that are normally maybe not in the lineup, let them get in and wrestle against some of Casey's younger kids that are freshmen and just different opponents that we might not normally see. But all of our kids will travel. All of our kids will be there supporting, just might make a couple of changes to make it a little bit more competitive in some weights and just let some other kids showcase all the hard work they do in here as well. That's just one of the good perks of having a deep room. We're able to let a lot of kids get in and compete, not just throwing them in there either. These kids can compete at a high level. They're backups that we expect to win still.
What about Shay?
They don't have a heavyweight. So we'll just probably throw Jace or Shay in there and let them take the forfeit. Won't get to showcase either of their skills really, but we could do that. We could throw Hudson in there since there's not a junior high duel. We could throw all sorts of heavyweights in there that are really, really like Hudson. If he wasn't just a junior high heavyweight and behind those good kids right now, we'd have him really competitive on the high school level at the heavyweight.
We could have for a heavyweight match. We could have Shay versus Hud.
Yeah, we could do something cool like that, really. And I don't know. He's a kid that I don't talk about Hudson enough. I don't feel like. I looked at the record today. He's 14-0 in junior high, and could have took him to Weatherford this weekend, and he probably would have got third behind Shane Davis. Just to be honest with you, he's that good. And we just don't have to put him in that action yet. And we're very fortunate for that.
Yeah.
You know, I told Hunter the other day, I was like, man, I've never not had a good heavyweight. I've always had a good heavyweight, either a state qualifier, state placer, state champion. First 2 years was Alton Johnson, who was the 2-time state placer, got third both years.
Yep.
Then it was Rylan, who was a qualifier as a freshman, placer as a sophomore, 2-time state champion, junior and senior. Then it was Shea, who was a state qualifier. And now it's Jace, you know, who's on path to win a state championship, I feel like. And it'll be Jace again next year. You know, then after that, you know, it's Zayden, Hudson, Trip Dotson, Corbin Penley, kids like that. We have a lot of big kids coming. Corbin Penley's a 7th grader, wears a size 14 shoe right now, weighs 200
15 coach.
15 shoe, And he's in 7th grade. He wrestles 200 pounds. He's going to be a giant, and he loves wrestling right now, I feel like. And that's how we got all them kids right there involved. We got them to love wrestling when they're a little bit younger. He said, hey, you're going to be a giant kid when you get older. Just stick with this, and it'll all pay off. And it's paid off for a lot of kids so far.
Yeah, 100%, man. I really hope there's a separation between Corbin and Tripp, because they're so close right now.
Yeah.
They're so close. I hope that separates somehow, but we will see.
Yeah. We have a bunch of good kids coming up. Little Dax Bean.
Yeah.
Just a whole group of them.
Yeah. Who's another one? Austin's been looking good this year. He fights really good.
Brody Donlin.
Brody, good.